I was not very steeped in the comics.
I didn't read any comics or do any research.
I wasn't familiar with comics. I wasn't familiar with the movies.
We didn't lean into a whole lot of the history of the comic books.
Yeah, candidly, we were not enormous comic fans.
I wasn't super into superhero comics when I was a kid. I read a lot of like indie press stuff.
First thing I was told is don't read the comics.
Really?
As a creator, they put you in a bubble. They don't let you talk about any of the other projects, right?
You know, they're up for anything.
We ultimately decided to redefine it for the series and thought that it worked better for the story that we're trying to tell.
Did you ever read you've never read the comic?
When the DVD comes out, I'm going to read a Thor comic book and just see where we went wrong.
Taking my headphones off, fuck that. Bethesda, there is nothing I love more than to sit down, comfy chair, turn on the PC, fire up a brand new RPG, lose myself, think, oh my God, just think of this world, just think of all the planets I can visit, all the immersive things that I can get involved with, all the fights, all the relationships, all the people I meet, all the places I go. I'm so excited to go there. And you know, I love nothing more than to be dragged down at every fucking conceivable opportunity. No. So you can fucking current us. No. Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, no. Fucking pronouns. That's all you fucking are. No. Fucking gender ambiguity. Fucking pronouns. No. Fucking current day California. Fucking pronouns. No. Because that's all we fucking know. Because we're boring. We're so fucking boring. Fucking pronouns. We can't see past our own fucking reflection. That's the level of our narcissism here. Bethesda Western Game Company. Fuck your immersion. Fuck you having a good time. Fuck you falling into a world and just getting lost. No. Current fucking day. No. Fuck off. You're boring. No. You're fucking dull. You have nothing to say. Pronouns. No. Pronouns. No. Pronouns. No. That's all you fucking are. Pronouns. And you wonder why people are getting so fucking sick and tired. You are a one hive mind twat waffle. You take everything we love, all our immersions, all our fantasies, all our escapism, and you just can't help shovel your dog shit, fucking crap ideology into everything, every single solitary fucking thing. Fucking pronoun. No. Fucking gender ambiguity. Fucking pronoun. No. Fucking current day California shit. Fucking pronoun. No. Because that's all we fucking know. Because we're boring. We're so fucking boring. You're boring. You're fucking dull. You have nothing to say. Because we're boring. No. We're so fucking boring. All you fucking are. Fucking pronouns.
For a little girl growing up Catholic today, will she ever have the opportunity to be a deacon and participate as a clergy member in the church?
No.
We are going to make our country great again.
John. About a month ago, I started forming a cabal to create a conspiracy. And our one mission is to convert Vox Day to Catholicism. Would you like to join my cabal?
No, only the Holy Spirit can approach a man of his stature and dark conceit. So
that's pretty based.
Look, I was an atheist. There is no argument on earth, no evidence that would have changed my mind. Nothing within the entire ambit of the human experience could have changed my mind. But something outside of humanity touched me, something outside the universe. So, hey, if Vox Day wants to join us, all he's got to do is relitigate the Second Constantinople General Council, which I believe is where he deviates from us on. I could be wrong about which council it was.
Yeah, I'm original Nicene Creed, not Niceno-Constantinople.
Right, and despite the fact that I'm a failed lawyer, I think relitigating that particular issue is beyond even my extensive capacities. So I will leave it up to the Holy Spirit to seek him out and mug him when he's not expecting. Hey, you turned the mic on. He can hear us conspiring against him now. He's
shoot, our bad. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Of course, we got science fiction legend John C. Wright here. We have my what are you? My Dark Lord, I guess. Vox Day. To which I don't know. I feel like I'm not an apprentice these days, but I am in some ways. So I'm
aspiring Dark Lord. I think that's a reason.
I am the Darth Vader to his Emperor.
Dark
for sure.
Squire. Dark Squire is the
Squire.
Someone serving a Dark Knight, a vassal, and he's your
Squire.
John C. Wright is the one who actually started the whole Dark Lord thing with his absolutely hilarious Lovecraftian homage to me during the original Sad Puppies. So
yeah, the Evil League of Evil.
Evil League of Evil. There was the International Lord of Hate, which was of course Larry Correa. I think Sarah Hoyt was the Beautiful Space Princess.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
And
I couldn't find a good name for myself. I eventually wanted to call myself the Grand Inquisitor because I have a religious bent to my writing. But
I thought that would have been perfect. I actually referred to you as the King in Yellow.
Little obscure. I
don't have your gift for monikers, but yeah, it was good. If any of the listeners just do a search for Dark Lord Vox Day International Lord of Hate Korea, and you'll find the piece. It's absolutely hilarious. It's somewhere on John's massive archives.
Yeah, John's
I will say that Vox Day, when he was my editor, was much more harsh, and now his mouth is full of flattery, and butter would not melt under his tongue. So thank you very much, Mr. Day. Not his real name, by the way. He operates under a nom de guerre.
Here's the thing: and I've said this many times, and I don't hesitate to say it. John C. Wright is a living science fiction grandmaster. It's not a title that I throw around loosely. In fact, I would argue that most of the official SFWA grandmasters are nothing of the kind. But honestly, the best three science fiction writers right now living are Neil Stephenson, China Miéville, and John C. Wright. And Neil Stephenson lost his fastball the last two books that I've read. So
I never liked Neil Stephenson.
Anthem is amazing. He's much better than Snow Crash. China Miéville is also much better than just if you've just read Perdido Street Station, and he's about more than just the whole weird thing. But what's fascinating about John is that he has written some of the scariest stuff you'll ever read with Superluminary.
For sure.
The concept of it is just haunting, and but he also has the ability.
I'm really surprised you say so. That's a pulp. I was deliberately trying to write. That was when I was writing one chapter a week for my blog, so that every chapter wanted to end on a cliffhanger. And I was trying to throw in as many wild ideas. I was trying to make it as much like an A.E. Van Vogt old pulp story as I could.
No, you really.
I wasn't meant to be. I'm not a horror writer. I'm not a scary writer.
No,
So-
in general, you're not. But
I kind of disagree, because if you go into Some Wither and Awaken the Nightland, you do create a visceral setting sense where it's
cosmic. It's cosmic horror. It's Lovecraftian style
Right.
horror, not what we think of as horror. I'm much more of a horror writer than you are. I mean,
Mhm.
people have called me a Christian horror writer, and that's probably reasonable. But Superluminary, I think, is much scarier on a philosophical, existential level than anything I've ever written. And
Well, there you have me, Mr. Beale, because I am a philosopher. Despite my best efforts to write action-oriented pulp, just philosophical things crop up in my writing against my will. I wrestle with the muse, and the muse beats me like a rented mule. There's very little I can do about it.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to take the blame for any errors in the book, but I'm not willing to take the credit for anything good in it, because it's kind of done by inspiration, not by calculation.
Well, I mean, the thing is that the best. I mean, there's a reason why we talk about accomplished people being geniuses. People throw the term around too loosely and use it as a synonym for intelligence. But what it really indicates is a muse, a genie that inspires one. I've said before that like one of the few geniuses that I've ever known and met was Prince, the musician. And he just had a unbelievable gift for music that he couldn't explain, nobody could explain. And
if I understand you correctly, you're alluding to the fact that the word genius, nowadays we say a man is a genius, but in the old days, when the vision of mankind was a little clearer, you would say he has a genius or is possessed by a genius, because the word genius, of course, means a genus loci, a genie, a spirit. And in the old days, they talked about poets having a divine madness. Well,
right.
One reason why it was easy for me as an atheist to go from a materialistic kind of this worldly worldview to an otherworldly worldview was that I was already aware in my own mind that I got ideas from somewhere outside myself. Now, modern people talk about a thing called a subconscious mind, and I'm not conscious of a subconscious mind. I've looked at everything I'm conscious of, and I'm unaware of my unawareness. So if I have an unconscious mind, I'm unconscious of it. But it seems to me that the word unconscious mind just means I know not where it comes.
Right.
I don't know what it is.
Right.
Okay. Well,
and the thing is,
the ancient Greeks knew. They were the muses of Mount Helicon.
Well, right. And if you dive into the sources of that stuff, I mean, on the one hand, you have the Freudian nonsense, which we all know was just
Freudian is the way I refer to it. It's just he had a lot of neurosis, and he wrote them down, and he wrote Greek myths and dressed them up. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's basically one man trying to explain his own personal perversions.
You will get more knowledge of human nature from reading Thomas Hobbes, the most cynical man who ever lived, than you will from getting Freud. But on the other hand, his witchcrafty friend Jung delved into he was like the modern Dee. Was Dee the name of Queen Elizabeth's warlock?
John Dee.
John Dee. Yes. I think maybe I'm being ridiculous, but I think of Jung as being like John Dee.
Oh, he was, and that's the thing, is all of that shadow self and all of that esotericism was simply just occult esotericism dressed up in vaguely pseudoscientific terms, and so.
I recently discovered, on a completely different topic, that Hegel, a philosopher I was forced to read in school, and whom I thought was just terrible, someone pointed out to me that he wasn't a philosopher at all. He was an esoteric witch, just using philosophical language to dress up his ideas, you see. So I see the parallel between that and what you just said about Jung.
Yeah, and
there's a lot of that.
I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware of that, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. I always despised Hegel, to be honest, just because I found his appropriation of the Aristotelian term dialectic to be offensive. And one of my pet bugaboos or whatever, one of my soapboxes is constantly explaining to everyone the difference between rhetoric and dialectic, and going back to Aristotle, because it's so much more. I mean, he better understood so much about human nature and the human condition than most people do today, because they don't read him.
Yep. And I would say that half of modern philosophy would go by the wayside if people just understood his 4 causes, something that
Right.
every literate man used to know back in the so-called Dark Ages, which were actually the brightest ages of mankind, if you ask me. But let's talk about something more interesting, like me and my books. And
yeah, congratulations on the
You
new
don't want
one
to talk
coming out.
about the establishment Uncanny Magazine. They're getting flooded with artificial intelligence submissions. They received over 1,000 of them this last submissions period, and they can't differentiate between the normal writers for Uncanny Magazine and the AI. So it is just it's just flooding their boxes, destroying their magazine. They don't know what to do because of AI.
Well, it's really easy. It's really easy. The AI stories are better.
Yeah. Oof. And that might be the problem. I mean, so I've tooled around with AI stories. I'm sure. I don't know. I'm sure Vox has. I don't know if John has messed with that.
No. AI creeps me out. I've read too many science fiction stories. I know what's going to happen. We warned you. We wrote. Science fiction writers wrote 1984. Science fiction writers wrote Brave New World. Science fiction writers wrote Atlas Shrugged. She was a science fiction writer, whether she admits it or not.
Right.
We told you about. We wrote the Asimov stories. We wrote the stories of the Humanoids by Jack Williamson. We warned you. Okay, and still mankind is going to trifle with science. You're going to unleash the horrible genie, and you're not going to get it back in the bottle, friends. So,
and Harlan Ellison wrote The Terminator.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yep.
I like Harlan
I
Ellison.
do have a small
for
problem
no other reason
in
than
that my son has been using my
head.
headphones lately, and he's connected his cell phone to my Bluetooth. And right now, I am hearing that. And on top of it, he's broken the screen of his cell phone, so he can't even figure out how to turn it off. So I literally can hear nothing right now until whatever is happening on his phone goes away. And that's really exciting. To deal with during the live stream right now.
Put John on big, and John, tell us about the book, the new book.
He can't hear you to tell me to put me on big.
No, but you're talking. He's not talking, and you are.
Once upon a time, there was a movie called Star Wars. This is probably before most of you were born, but I saw it in the theater back when I had no gray hairs. It was amazing. It changed the genre because it returned to the previous generation of how films were made. It returned to the good old days, the nostalgic days of Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon, except with much better special effects. And it tapped into that genius, that mythological ancient storytelling that's been with us ever since the Neolithic age, when fire was first invented and the dog had just become our friend. That we just made a deal with the wolves to protect our campfires, and we sat around and told stories about the unknown. Okay, Star Wars tapped into that. Then something called the woke mind virus was released from a lab in China and caused people to suddenly become freakish, esoteric, neo-Marxist wokesters, something like a zombie horde. And they lost their free will and lost their judgment and lost their ability to do art. They lost their ability to do even popular entertainment.
Are you talking about and this is in Star Wars, so are you talking about stuff like this gem?
No, not this stuff. He's talking about the original.
Yeah, you take that, Whitey. This is our Star Wars now.
No, we're talking about the original Star Wars, John.
Oh, you're back then. You're back in.
Yes. We're not
you
making
have to call
fun
him
of
by
the
his
new
last
one.
name when I'm around. Otherwise, I don't know if you're talking to me or talking to him. Or you have to pronounce the H, because I have an
That's
H
true.
in my name, and he's
Jahan.
a reductionist.
Jahan is talking about the original Star Wars and the appeal of it.
Please, we're
John.
not on a first name basis. Call me Mr. Wright. So,
boom.
So I went to go see The Last Jedi, and I have not recovered. I was emotionally scarred for life. I was so depressed that I went to my therapist, and he committed suicide. That's how bad that movie was.
Have you seen The Acolyte?
No. My therapist warned me from beyond the grave. So, but I've heard rumors of. I've heard the distant screams from over the horizon of the abominations slowly consuming mankind, and I avoided it wisely, because who doesn't like lesbian space witches? I mean, that's a surefire formula for success. I hope they have She-Hulk on as a guest star soon. In any case, and Galadriel from Rings of Power. I hope those characters show up as lesbian space witches very soon.
People love crossovers. People love crossovers.
They do. When Spider-Man fought Superman, that was great. In any case. So, as I was driving home with my wife, who's also a writer, and my kids, who are also wannabe writers, I said, how would you have done that movie differently? And they laid out a perfectly good plot, given what had happened in the first movie, which the name was The Force Stirs in its slumber, hits the snooze button, and goes back to sleep. I forget what the name of the first movie was. Something like that. The Force snoozes. So given the premise of what the setup was, they played out a scenario for me that was made a perfectly fine movie. And as a joke on my blog, when I did my review of The Last Jedi, I pretended that I was from a parallel universe where Star Wars was still good, and I had seen that movie, The Dark Sun's Rising, or whatever I called it. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the essay, at the end of the column, after criticizing and complimenting the good things that were in Dark Sun Rising, I said, but it's too bad that in a nearby parallel timeline where everything sucks, they had to watch a much poorer movie, and they'll never see the good one. So fans wrote to me and said, could you actually write it up? Because this is pretty good. This is a pretty good review. I said, sure. So I took like several years, like 2-3 years off of my, just to write up the first 9 books of a proposed 12-volume series called Star Quest, where I didn't really change that much. Instead of a galaxy far, far away, I picked the closest galaxy there is, which is Andromeda, and I made it in the future rather than past. And I changed one or two. I tweaked one or two other things.
Hold up right here, John. You've already written 9 books?
Yes, they're in first draft. The first one's coming out this week. Came out this week. And I'm going to try to release them on a fairly rapid schedule so as to keep up some sort of consumer interest, to try to get some momentum.
That's a good cover.
And here's the beautiful
I love
cover.
This cover.
Yeah.
I love this cover. We're trying to get the artist to do the second one, but we can't find him. He's gone into hiding.
He's not the guy. That's not the artist who did the cover for Moth and Cobweb, is it?
I don't think so. The Moth and Cobweb guy is the guy we're asking right now.
Okay, because he also disappears from time to time. So, but yeah, they do have
book cover artists are hiding from the AI. They're hiding from the Terminator, who's come back to the future to eliminate them and take their jobs.
That would explain it.
Yeah.
Fiona says, I read that when we had no power on in the house. It's lovely. So excellent. Yeah, I backed
my book.
Yeah, your book.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. You read it by Braille, I assume, or by candlelight. That's even better.
Maybe Kindlelight. I don't know.
So this book is the most original work ever made by mankind. By which I mean, there's not a single original element in it. Everything is stolen. You see, because mid-list writers merely rob people and steal ideas. But truly great writers, we mug great writers, we steal their ideas, and we club them over the head with a whiskey bottle, shove them into a dirty alley, pour the whiskey over the clothes. So when the foreman finds them, they'll think that guy was drunk on duty, and then they'll get in trouble and not us. So that's the way I steal things. I do make a thorough stealing. I take it back to the chop shop. I file off the serial numbers. And then, since I also steal from other sources, I combine them into a weird, freakish Frankenstein's monster of everything I like, hoping that my readers will like some of the same things. So there's 1 or 2 things I thought Star Wars could, I can't say do better, because Star Wars is pretty good, but I will say certain things that I wish they had emphasized, such as space pirates. How many space pirates are there in Star Wars? There's some in the extended universe, granted, but not in the movie, you know. And
what was the great space pirate comic that Bill Mantlo did? Bill Mantlo Space Pirate. What was it called? I think it was called Space Pirate. Oh, it's Swords of the Swashbucklers. Yes.
Better and better.
Bill Mantlo Swords. And this is something that inspired me pulp-wise, the Swashbucklers. And they literally in this comic book, do we have some images of it? It was here. You could see the beautiful 1980s covers right here. They had, and look at the beautiful 1980s.
I'm afraid I still see just my cover, which I don't mind. But
oh no, I boomered things up. Gosh, I'm sorry, chat.
You know, I used to play a game back when I was a kid. It was called Asteroid Pirates. That was a good game.
This Space Pirates deal was so freaking cool. And always made me interested in Space Pirates stories. Look at this, John. They've even got a literal pirate ship that's just flying around in space with masts and everything. That is quality.
I did not do that. I'm trying to be really pulpy and I'm trying to be really space opera-ish, but every now and again I get little bits, little residue of John W. Campbell Jr. techno fiction in my craw. So for example, every place location in Andromeda Galaxy is real. It does have a supermassive black hole at the core that has two orbiting black holes around it with an accretion disk that's light years wide, and just it's absurdly Andromeda is not a spiral galaxy. It used to be a spiral galaxy, but a cosmic disturbance passed through a place called the Warp, and it turned it into rings. The stars are now in an inner and outer ring rather than a nice neat spiral. Things like that.
Oh,
I just added. It's on the collision course with the Milky Way galaxy. Just by the way,
the supermassive black hole
is this something that we need to worry about in the next?
Not
2
unless
years?
immortality is discovered.
See, I may have to worry about it then, because as I told my wife recently, they keep discovering things that make you live longer, and it's essentially my diet. I mean, first they're like, okay, drink red wine. So I was like, okay, I drink red wine. That's good. And then they're like, and eat dark chocolate. And so, check. And then they came out with coffee. And that's, I mean, if they find that Spanish Pata Negra also extends your lifetime, I told my wife, I said, you may have to prepare for the possibility I might be immortal.
They haven't, but my dad got another one. The cheese, the Italian cheese, the Pecorino Romano.
Pecorino Romano, yeah.
Yeah, apparently has properties in it that also do that. So if you're into that cheese,
yeah,
that works pretty well too.
Yeah, we definitely have been known to have that go with the Pata Negra, because you got to have cheese with it.
Yeah, of course.
It's more than geologic eras in the future, so you have to be really immortal, and you may have to be abandoned the solar system once our sun swells up in giant size.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Thanks for the warning.
Invest some money in Elon Musk, and make sure you get to Mars, and then later on when they turn the asteroid belt into a fleet of world colony ships, try to get to some nearby stars.
Good
so
to
this
know.
is not John's book, but when you mentioned Space Pirates, I just had to bring it back to the 80s back then.
Well, then crank up pictures of Lamont Cranston, the Shadow, because he's in there too, and Lee Falk's the Phantom. Because in Lee Falk's idea was that there was one guy in the 1600s who swore an undying oath against all pirates, and he passed his mantle down to his son, and they wore a mask. And so the legend got started that he was the ghost who walks, a guy who can never die, because he's been alive since the 1600s, and they don't know it's because he drinks coffee and eats Romano cheese.
There we go.
Or he was exposed to a mysterious radiation of a satellite of a fallen asteroid, like my hero Vandal Savage. In any case,
you have a character.
So I stole that idea.
Vandal Savage.
I'm sorry. What did I say?
That's a great name, Vandal Savage.
Oh, Vandal Savage is a DC comic character based on a character from The Shadow. By the way, they didn't. Batman's didn't make up. I mean, who is immortal, and he's been all the great conquerors in history, and he just periodically crops up and conquers people, and he remembers all the sciences of Atlantis and Lemuria, and so modern people are kind of helpless before him. He doesn't have any other superpowers. He's just really long lived.
Huh? Yeah. Just it sounds like a name like his real name is Vandal G Savage, and you're like, what's G stand for? And he's like, goth.
Yep.
Well, cool stuff. So this just came out, and I put it in the description. I popped it in the chat once for you guys. So what are we looking at as far as book 1 of 12? Is this? Do we get to the Death Star level fight in here, or is this
I blow
a slower
up
crawl?
My theory. This is the John Wright theory for space opera. If you're reading a story where a planet is not blown to smithereens, and I don't mean just sprinkled with radioactive dust, I mean they actually need a weapon that smashes it into flinders and creates an asteroid belt, then you're not really reading a space opera.
Wow.
Yeah, John could literally be named Destroyer of Worlds. I mean,
someone else has that name. World Wrecker Hamilton.
Yes,
who was the husband of Leigh Brackett, who wrote the screenplay for Empire Strikes Back. How's that for 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Wow.
World Wrecker Hamilton is my hero. Okay.
Well, I have to say that as a Dark Lord, I can't read this book or recommend that anyone read this book, because I just read the line, fate has set these unlikely heroes against the 4 dark. You're saying the dark overlords are the bad guys?
Yes, because it's that kind of book. Look, if you want to have a book about anti-heroes, if you want to have an anti-Star Wars where they're all grim and gritty and grisly and it's all film noir, write your own book, buddy. You can do it. You're not without talent.
John, go to ArcTunes and show him the
well, I'm just saying, if you want a Star Wars that's like that, I mean, I got it for you.
No,
there's no Dark Lords. There's no Dark Lords in that. Lesbian space witches are not Dark Lords.
This is not film noir. Modern wokeness is not grim and gritty. In fact, they try to avoid grim and gritty. You never see a strong female character getting the snot kicked out of her the way any character from a Dashiell Hammett book routinely gets the snot kicked out of him. Do you know how many times Humphrey Bogart gets beaten up in The Big Sleep? Okay, it's at least 3, unless I lost my count.
Yeah, go down to How to Succeed Like a Dark Lord on the side there.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
And then right there, yeah, and then go down towards the beginning. We have this whole ongoing joke about in this comic, go to Tears of a Dark Lord. That's a good that will get the point across. And basically, the ongoing joke is that in every book, the Dark is Rising, the Lord of the Rings, all the classic fantasies. Prydain Chronicles, the Dark Lord keeps crying and getting upset because the Dark Lord keeps losing. so it's
stupid.
He will like the beginning of it. He would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for those horrible pesky short people.
Precisely. So anyhow, but let's get back to the space pirates.
The space pirates are only one element of the
right.
When I looked at Star Wars, I thought there was basically four worlds overlapped. The princess came from a political world. Han Solo came from a crime lord world, came from a film noir story. The Luke Skywalker falls into a magical world with literally a wizard introduces him to being a magical psychic knight, a samurai knight, and the military world of the soldiers of the legionnaires fighting the rebels is the remaining storyline. And in a movie like the Mandalorian, you get to see it more from the soldier's point of view, for example, and there's slightly less Jedi, just as for example.
Right.
So I based on that, I made 4 Dark Lords and 4 main characters fighting the four different types of conflict that you get in a space opera: military, political, magical, and I forgot what I was talking about. What was the other one? I just said it.
Crime.
Criminal. Right. Criminal. So my I have a thinly disguised version of Lamont Cranston in the Shadow as the spy master for naval intelligence. I have a thinly disguised version of Lee Fawkes the Phantom as the ancient mariner who wears a mask of the death mask of his remote ancestor who was killed by space pirates. You can see him there on the cover. It's a Lion Man mask. Oh, right. For my aliens, I decided that there's too many realistic aliens in science fiction. So I decided they're all just animal people because I wanted to have the Lion Man, Thun, Prince of the Lion Man from Flash Gordon, make an honorary appearance. And there's, of course, Howard the Duck. His planet also makes an honorary appearance. I don't call it that, but that's what it is. And the Vulcans, I decided should go back to their roots and become Houyhnhnms from Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels. And they show up. I don't even change the name. I call them Winhams because they're in the public domain, so I can steal them. I can use them.
And virtually no one who reads science fiction is actually familiar with Jonathan Swift anymore. So I think you're safe.
That's true.
Excellent. And so instead of having to make up quaint and curious names for my alien races, I just used the Latin names for them. The Winhams are known as the equine. The frogs are known as the Bactracians. A word I know because I read Lovecraft. Just by the way, the frog
that's
people.
pretty bad. Is the frog from Chrono Trigger? So now you're
I'm an
speaking
old
my
man.
language, Turbo.
Chrono
Now you're
Trigger's
speaking
after
my
my time.
language. And if he put the frog from Chrono Trigger into this, I that would have just been chef's kiss. But unfortunately, John
No.
didn't do
This
that.
is Chrono Trigger's after my time. You don't know how old I am. He's from Innsmouth. He's one of the deep ones from Shadow of Innsmouth.
Gotcha.
So, and they're the bad guys.
Wow.
This
is
is
exciting stuff.
And
if you've not got this already, my friends,
go ahead.
Let me sell you your book. Hold on. If you've not got this already, my friends, you can grab this right now on Kindle. It's only $4.99 or $12.95 for a paperback, $17.95 for a hardcover. Excellent. I know some people in my Discord already have it because I've seen pictures of it pop up in my Discord. I backed the crowdfund campaign, so I'm waiting for my copy to show up out here. I talked with JIG about that the other day, your lovely bride. And this is, guys, pick this up. Honestly, John C. Wright is appointment reading. Anytime he comes out with a book, it's drop everything, read it right away. He's that good. And you have my endorsement on that level. And I think Vox is also similar endorsement.
Sir, if the public did not know I was poor as a church mouse, they would just think I bribed you to make such flattering statements. But I thank you very much.
No, 100%. I mean, John is one of John is at this point definitely one of the top 2 science fiction authors alive.
When Vox Day called me a grandmaster, I thought he was talking about my girth. I thought he was talking about my weight. And no, he actually thinks I'm skilled. So it's because I have good editors, sir. It's because I've had good editors.
I'm not going to deny that I'm a good editor, but I have to say that publishing, I'm not sure which is more depressing, not as an editor, but as a writer. Because as most of you guys know, I'm also a writer. But it's up in the air as to who is more rapidly prolific, Grandmaster John C. Wright or the legend Chuck Dixon. Chuck Dixon he's a co-creator of several comics with me. We work together on a couple comics. He's the guy who created Bane.
John Chuck Dixon created Bane. Yeah, you went to there, but I was trying to.
Yeah,
you buried that lead. Yeah.
So he's amazingly prolific, and the 2 experiences that I've had, one with you and one with him, to illustrate why it's depressing to know and work with you guys, is starting off with Chuck. He regularly, if I send him 2 pages, he will send me back 2 complete issues of an entire comic. So my wife knows that I'm talking to him because I will usually respond to him with a vulgarity, and then we both start laughing because his favorite thing is to make me swear at him because it's just out of pure envy. But the thing that was amazing about you, John, was when you started writing Moth and Cobweb, and the first book, The Green Knight Squire. It's an excellent book. Again, after you read StarQuest, you've got to read Moth and Cobweb. But the first book was fantastic, but it was missing a little something in the first chapter. And so I said to you, look, this is great, but I think you need to rewrite the first chapter. It needs to be a little bit darker, a little bit creepier, kind of, like I believe I suggested doing something that felt kind of the way that The Dark is Rising feels when you first start kind of feeling that there's something there, but you don't know what.
Yeah, you mentioned The Dark is Rising by name, so I reread the first chapter of The Dark is Rising just to try to get what you were talking about.
Yeah, but the thing that blew me away, and because I was so shocked that I went and checked the date stamps on our emails, and you sent me back a completely different, completely new, completely awesome first chapter called The 13th Hour, which was creepy and perfect. I mean, it was absolutely perfect. It was exactly what I was looking for. And you did it in 13 hours.
I didn't know I did it in 13 hours. That's really creepy because that chapter is about the fact that when the clock strikes 13, and no mortal man can see the clock strike 13, only the elves and the people who are in the twilight people can see it.
Right.
Everyone gets up and brings their loot to the elves. Everyone strips themselves of their stuff and gives it to the elves. Because my elves are not the friendly elves that make toys for Santa Claus.
No,
my elves are the guys who from
the Terry Pratchett elves.
Say again?
The thing is that was amazing wasn't the coincidence about the name 13th Hour and it being sent in 13 hours. It was the pure speed that you produced a work of that quality. You know, I'm not a bad writer myself. People have been kind enough to give me some very favorable reviews of my new book and stuff, but it took me 9 years to write it. You know,
the Golden Age trilogy in 9 months.
And see, this is why it's depressing to be a writer and know you.
It's depressing to me too because I'm slowed down. I can't stay awake all night writing like I used to. So now I'm getting older. So
we do have a couple super chats real quick, guys. Let me clear these out of here. Weird Medicine with Dr. C. Thank you for becoming a channel member. Really appreciate you. Drake, thank you for being a channel member. Basically, as long as I've had channel memberships, that's awesome. Wow. Appreciate it. I need to get like new icons and stuff because all the jokes nobody here understands anymore. That is a problem with inside jokes on our channel. Taryn Blade for $5. Thank you for the super chat there. Says, Mr. Wright, are there any plans to collect your older short stories into a Dead Tree omnibus?
You'll have to ask my beautiful wife is not here. She's the one who handles the financial affairs of the corporation, but I have no idea. So I don't have any plans at the moment, but I'm not the publisher.
Maybe we'll make plans.
One of my old publishers is online right now.
Yeah,
that's true. John, we will happily publish anything you want to publish.
Okay.
Do
you want to get more depressed about writing, Vox? Because I've got something very depressing.
Love to.
And it's quite in the opposite area because we're talking about DC Comics. We talked about Chuck Dixon and what he did to the great stuff. One of the characters he really fleshed out was Dick Grayson, turning him into Nightwing. And Nightwing was Chuck's creation also. Dick was not, but Nightwing was. And now DC Comics has gone, and this is a real comic book. This came out today. Nothing but Nightwing. Yes.
Wasn't
this
that
is real.
Vox, didn't you propose that for a Hugo Award back in the day with the dinosaur anal sex?
Yeah. That was a Space Raptor Butt Invasion.
Butt Invasion.
Oh, yeah. You can see where I might made the confusion there.
Exactly. So, and then of course the year after that was the legendary alien stripper boned by the T-Rex.
Yeah, but at that point, the Hugos were dead to me, so I didn't even bother.
I don't have the images on here. Okay, hold on. I got to pull up some of the images because this is just the dialogue apparently. But it gets even better.
Now, Mr. De La Rose, you are going to depress Vox Day because he's a sensitive Dark Lord.
He's a
whereas
sensitive Dark Lord.
I am going to be cheered up because there's only so much of the pie to go around, and people who hate this garbage are going to love my stuff.
Oh my God. This is what they're doing to Dick Grayson, Nightwing. And when you look at it in the context of Batman adopted this child and then dressed him up, and then he ends up like this.
They clearly abused him.
Yeah. This is pretty bad.
The obvious implication.
Jim Lee, DC Comics greenlit this and published this, my friends.
Because they hate us. Let me explain to some of your viewers who may not understand the nuances of what's going on. These people hate us. They hate our culture. They hate our entertainment. They hate both the profound and the lighthearted. They hate things that are important and things that are frivolous. They hate everything about us because they work for the devil. Okay, let's not mince words. They serve the Antichrist. Yeah. But the problem with you serve the Antichrist is you're also anti-human, anti-life, anti-reason, and anti-art. The true and the good and the beautiful come from a mysterious eternal source. And if you turn your back on that source, you're going to get the untrue, the ugly, and the vicious. which is them.
True story.
And even their propaganda is boring. Look, I've seen commie propaganda that I liked. The black and white film Alexander Nevsky. It has a score by Prokofiev. It's a propaganda film about how the evil Germans, the evil Christian Germans, are invading Mother Russia and have to be stopped, and they're all going to be eaten up by the ice. And the simple peasant wisdom of the peasant helps out the handsome prince, and so on and so forth. Okay, and the movie has the theme that we all have to hang together during warfare and share all the goods and have all a property in common and serve Stalin. But it's a good movie. Okay, it's well done propaganda. It made me want to go out and sell all my goods to the poor.
Well, not only that, but they obviously foresaw Marvel's teamwork theme. Have you noticed every MCU movie is always like, we have to do it together.
Yes. I believe that theme cropped up at the campfire I mentioned earlier, back in the Paleolithic when fire was first invented and we had to sit around telling stories to keep the dark away. I think that was the tribe had to be persuaded by the tribal poet.
It's not just there's a
tribal
second element
madman
to the teamwork.
Pull together.
There's number 2, Vox, which is, I don't care. You guys are my actual family now.
Oh
John
yeah,
Vox. We're family, even though we're legitimately not family in any way whatsoever. We are family.
I said I was not going to get depressed by you, Mr. Delarose, and I've been proven wrong. I am now glum. I hate the anti-family theme almost as much as I hate the anti-natalist theme, the anti-life theme. I despise it deeply.
It's terrible.
I also
every
like
Marvel
women in
movie
fight scenes. So my female Jedi are not Jedi. I made them something else.
That's cool.
Good call.
I like that.
I made them in shrine maidens. I made them into nuns.
Temple maidens.
Thing with me, let me talk about me again for a second. Since both of you guys were foolish enough to flatter and compliment me, one thing I missed in Star Wars, and I'm not cutting against the thing I'm copying from. Obviously, Star Wars is magnificent, but I wanted the Jedi Knights to be more like knights and less like Jedi. If you understand what I'm saying, the Jedi Knights are kind of mythically Taoist with their Force and the dark side of the Force. And I said, no, I want to have something that's more like
they're kind of fruity, John. They're kind of fruity.
I don't think they're fruity at all. I think that
the Vox sold me on this because of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
The inspiration comes from Flash Gordon, from samurai movies, and from old westerns. There's no fruitiness
but in Episode 1, the two kind of gay guys go to the planet. They grab this Anakin slave boy and bring him.
You mean they're as gay as Frodo and Sam, or as gay as Sancho Panza and?
Think about this.
Come on, you've been reading too many Nightwing butt stories.
No,
You've fallen into their trap.
No, think about this. I mean, just think about it from the perspective of Qui-Gon Jinn, or whatever his name is, Qui-Gon Jinn. Think of it from Qui-Gon Jinn. So the perspective of his boss. Okay, so
we're gonna have to call HR.
Sir Jinn, you're going to be sent to this alien planet because we need you to do some diplomacy. And it was like, okay, I need to have an apprentice. Okay, well, here, take your apprentice Obi-Wan, and you guys go and do your diplomacy.
And he's got the gay little braid too. His apprentice. Don't forget.
But so then they go and do their diplomacy supposedly, and then they come back, and the guy's like, "So, how'd the diplomatic mission go?" And he says, "Well, we didn't actually do any diplomacy, but we started a war, and I got a catamite." I mean, that's literally what happens. You can spin it in different ways, but in terms of the actual facts of what happens on that mission, it's very questionable.
It's amusing, but it's not a catamite.
Well, I mean, we hope not, but I mean, you're still sitting there going, why did you buy a young slave boy?
Because he was space Jesus. Well, he was born of a virgin. He was going to save the universe. That's why they said so.
I don't remember Space Jesus getting bought by the Jewish temple. Oh, I shouldn't correlate those two things. Sorry.
Anyhow,
I think him being Space Jesus is much more offensive than him being a catamite. So you guys can spin your own theories, but what's actually going on in the movie is a lot worse. And I will point out that was not written by Leigh Brackett. That was after George Lucas lost his fastball. Okay.
All I'm saying is that if you look with some of these things,
Hey,
if you
you're
forget all
mocking the
metaphor
thing I'm
and
stealing, you know.
expectations-
So come on now. At least,
But you didn't.
at
I'm
least
sure.
Pretend,
I'm
at least
guessing.
pretend
I'm
to be a
guessing,
Star Wars fan.
but I'm guessing you're not going to steal that. Like we're going to go on a diplomatic mission.
I have slavery in my background.
Right, but you didn't send two guys off on a diplomatic mission. They get sidetracked by buying a slave boy.
My knights have squires.
Yeah, but they're not buying slave boys.
My
Right?
knights are called Templars, and you know what they were accused of.
Well, yeah, that is a little bit sus. That's a little bit suspect.
The problem is that I had to come up with an order of knights who were thought to be witches because I wanted these guys to have spooky mind powers.
Right.
And who's better than the Templars? We all know that they had mounds of treasure and so on and so forth. But not to worry, the Dark Lords had the Empire wipe them out. So that should meet with your approval.
I'm all in.
And
John, I'm back in. I'm back.
You're back in.
You want to read
back
another
in.
book that's Star Wars, not
Hashtag
Star Wars?
all in.
If you want to read another book that's Star Wars but not Star Wars, read Galaxy's Edge by Ann Speck and Nick Cole, my friend Nick Cole.
Yeah,
it's Mill SF, but it takes place in a Star Wars, not Star Wars background. And one thing he did, which I thought was brilliant, is he said his Galactic Republic outlawed all supernatural belief. So all churches, all religion, all table tipping, all playing cards were outlawed. And I said, oh, I've got to steal that idea. That's just great. So the Templars, the Jedi in my background, were not just illegal, but any belief in the supernatural was also illegal during the Imperial years because they were strict materialists. You see? And so the thought police, I don't call them thought police, but that's what they are, had to track down anyone who had psychic powers and not only kill them, but eliminate any witnesses because psychic powers have been decreed not to exist. You know, that's my version of, do you remember the black guy who was the stormtrooper in the Force Snoozes? Who turned on the bad guys?
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, John Bodega. Yeah.
John Bodega. If I was that actor, I would sue my boss. I would sue them, okay, because they had so much potential for that character, and they turned him into Step and Fetch It. I'm sorry, they turned him into comedy relief. He should have been as kick-ass as Samuel L. Jackson, okay? But he should have been a soldier. He should have been a hardcore guy.
But it didn't even make sense since he was the clone of a Hispanic guy.
Yeah. So I have my clone troopers be envious of people with families, and trying to live up to the.
Have we talked about
try to live up to the stature of their original that they come from, who is a mythical figure, a legendary figure. So
have we talked about the clones yet? The new clone, everybody's favorite new clone, sister.
Oh, the transgender clone. Sister.
Yes. So I've been leaving the super chat up for a long time.
She's
Jeffrey
out of
Hines,
uniform.
Thank you for the super chat for the $10. Appreciate it. Has anyone
Mr.
in the group read
Hines,
the
not
Chronicles?
only did I read The Lensmans by Doc E. Smith, I've written a Lensman book. This is it. That my main character has a black badge that gives him absolute authority to do anything, be judge, jury, and executioner.
Wow.
Okay. I don't call him a Lensman, but that's what he is. And he has to investigate the space pirates and work his way up through their ranks, just like Kimball Kinnison, to become the king of the pirates, who in my background is called Ahab because he's a member of a whale species. He's a white whale.
love Triplanetary. Also love the Skylark of Space, which is not a Lensman, but it's Doc Smith's sort of other.
It's earlier. It's better.
Deal. It is better.
Blackie Duquesne is a character that I also stole, and I put him into my other book, so I couldn't use him in this one. I called him Blackie de Lazarkel. I changed his last name, but kept the first name.
I too have read the Lensman books, but not quite as thoroughly or enthusiastically as Mr. Wright or Mr. Delarose.
Because I read them when I was 12, they're inscribed into the deepest strata of my imagination. So they're the lens through which I observe
I read them back in the 90s because I was a big Babylon 5 fan, and I was told over and over on the Usenet message boards that J. Michael Straczynski ripped off Lensman.
Really.
I didn't really see it. Yeah. So I don't know, but I enjoyed the books nonetheless. But we have Sister these days, and Sister is now in
He's
a
out of
children's
uniform.
book.
I'm sorry. That's not the way stormtroopers dress. They're supposed to be faceless. They're supposed to have no identity.
Yeah, but you can have a modern American trans flag in a galaxy far, far away because that's the level of writing we're at these days.
What a wimpy empire! He would go into the recycler in my empire. Which is called the Greatest Empire, by the way. I decided to give it a name, but it's basically the Roman Empire in space. Every empire in space is going to be the Roman Empire, okay? They always have senates and centurions and legionnaires and Praetorian guards. So
yeah.
Sure.
But Mike Miller actually brought up the best point about this, and he said this is probably the most based thing Star Wars could have done, and hear out the reasoning. Because all the clones have the exact same genetic material, because they're clones, right? And so therefore
except for the black one.
Right. But we've now proved
he could have been a child soldier. He could have been captured as a chief.
We proved
to make up
now
for
that this is
missing
not
clones.
a genetic thing, that it's not DNA that made them trans or whatever gender thing they do. It is, in fact, a mental illness, and that this 100% proves it in Star Wars.
I disagree. He could have been possessed by a force ghost of an ancient female Sith. Right? We know that ghosts exist in that background. We've seen them.
But it's not genetic.
True.
Yeah.
But what if he's That's true. It's not genetic.
The Force turns out to be genetic in that stupid first movie. Which
the midichlorian crap.
Which I would like to excise from the canon as soon as Star Wars gets sold to someone who knows how to use it.
That the slave boy had. A lot of midichlorians.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how you detect these space juices. It's in your blood.
What
Half your
if
DNA is from your mother, and the other half is from God. So
what if the midichlorians are a metaphor for AIDS?
That would make him weak rather than powerful. I don't get that.
That would get dark real quick. Yeah.
Interesting.
This is why I don't write pulp.
Because you don't like it.
No, well, it's not that I don't like it. I actually enjoy reading it. It's just I'm a Tanith Lee guy.
Yeah.
And so anything that I do is going to end up going that direction.
Going dark. Sure.
In some way, because
you like film noir. You can't be a Dark Lord and like light, happy, fluffy, happy endings. Okay.
Well, no, but that's the thing is I do like them as entertainment. I just don't write them.
Okay.
I have actually, because of the AI stuff, what's kind of interesting is with the AI stuff, I have actually been able to write some light, happy music, which is kind of a first.
Interesting.
John's going, what? Because
two Johns, you have to use last names or use a title. Call him Dark Squire.
Actually, I usually call him JDA. JDA is wondering, what the hell is Vox talking about? Because the last song that I sent to him is called Welcome to the Midnight World, and it's all about vampires taking over things. And John's going, wait, that's happy and cheerful? It's not that song, John. It's not JDA. Okay. It's not that song.
You missed it.
It was Mr.
Vox. You should have said
Mr. Tub.
You should have said it's happy by my standards.
It's happy by my it's an awesome song. It's just I wrote my wife. When we were in the Bahamas years ago, my wife asked me for a drink, to go get a drink at the bar. And I said, well, what do you want? And she said, I want a drink with a coconut. And so I ended up turning that into a song. And of course, how can you have a dark, ominous, ponderous song called A Drink with a Coconut? I mean, you can't.
Have Kiss.
Not possible.
Sing it.
Still not.
I want a drink with a coconut.
It's still not possible. It'll still come off as cheerful. I guarantee it. So anyhow, I just went in the other direction, and it's all happy and stuff. So you can do it, but I really do appreciate, and I like that. I mean, what I really appreciate about what you do is that there's always a strong moral code, and there's always a underlying moral philosophy to it that even when you're writing in your atheist days just has a power to it that most writers just don't have. And that's where I think it's effective.
I will pass your remark on to the muse next time I see her.
That would be good.
Nice.
And if I'm writing a Star Wars ripoff, I mean, the moral code is built into the background there. It's good guys against bad guys, and that's why people liked it at the time.
Right.
The writers who trashed the acolyte writers who are not Star Wars fans, they're anti-Star Wars fans. They hate Star Wars. Said that they thought Star Wars was about how everyone's truth is personal to himself, and how there's no such thing as right and wrong, and how from the Sith point of view, they're the good guys and the Jedi are the bad guys, and so on and so forth. And of course, I could not think of anything more tin-eared or more obviously false about the original Star Wars. Ming the Merciless is the bad guy, and Flash Gordon is the good guy. There's no ambiguity. There's no two ways about it. There's no second take on the matter. Okay.
There's no uncovering what Ming's inner thoughts are that make him really who he is deep
That's
down.
Right. We never see Ming that was abused as a child by the previous emperor or anything like that. No, he's a merciless emperor because he has to rule an unruly population of races that are disparate from each other. There's only two ways to rule a multicultural race: is through love or through fear. They either have to all agree that there's certain principles they all have in common, or they have to be afraid of the empire. And that's another one of the conflicts I have here. In my empire, in my background, the empire was overthrown like 50 years ago. Okay, so it's because it's supposed to take place in the sequel universe of an evil empire that was overthrown. It's not like I'm making this stuff up. I'm stealing it. Okay.
Right.
So I just said, wait a minute, these guys probably have never had or even heard of the idea of running a government by means of a constitution. It's a new idea for them. And a lot of the outer planets don't trust it. So that's another one of the themes. That's another one of the plot points that goes on, is that not only do the good guys have to stop the space pirates and stop the evil supernatural power that is behind the space pirates, they have to try to get the galaxy to come together as a team or a family, because otherwise they're just going to be destroyed separately one by one. And I decided that the aristocrats in the if you have space princesses, you have to have aristocrats, right? You have a hierarchical system.
Right.
And I decided that there's different planets run by different types of governments, but they basically have sort of a federation-ish way of life at the moment. I did take the trouble to make up the 12 previous millennia of galactic history, and which race or which form of government and which philosophy of life was dominant at various periods. But I also decided that, like the Roman Empire, the empire in space doesn't even have a concept of separate polities, of an equal foreign government, because in space there's no mountains, there's no rivers, there's no oceans. If you show up at a planet with a spaceship, you can drop bombs on it and blow it to smithereens. You see, so there's no way to have these guys, this background. There's no such thing as like the Klingons and the Federation as two separate political entities. It's not in their psyche. They think of the civilization as one thing. But it can go bad. During the Unholy Wars, people decided to centralize all the power in the military, and that turned and the military leader turned into the first emperor. And that was like 400 years ago, 1,000 years ago. You say,
right?
And I do that over and over again. Usually, everything that's excuse me. I was trying to say that this is really black and white, and yet, almost everything that's evil now was originally corrupted from something that was not so evil. Even the Dark Overlords originally were called dark merely because they were hidden. They were hiding from the inhuman transhumanoid machines, which were Jupiter brains the size of gas giants, that were ruling mankind, ruling the galaxy. And they had psychic powers that the computers couldn't detect or stop. So they actually saved the galaxy rather, from the machine life that. So
the Dark Lords are the good guys, like I said.
Back in the day, yes, that's true. I take it back. As always, Mr. Vox Day, you have prevailed again as this is like my second best editor I've ever worked under. I say second best because my first best now is Jaji. My wife is now my editor, and she tells me how to write women.
Fair enough.
And she says take a man and then take away responsibility and reason and then do it that way. I said, really? Okay, so maybe she was
really nice.
I don't know.
Well, guys, I've been pulling this up and putting the link in the chat for you. And if you just,
I'm still on a roll.
You got to remember, John, this is a live stream, so people are popping in here and popping out of here. So you have to periodically just remind the new people of what we're talking about and what's going on. This is John C. Wright's new book, Star Quest: Space Pirates of Andromeda. And John C. Wright right here is one of the best living science fiction authors right now. My favorite book of his is actually The Green Knight Squire. And this is his new book, which is kind of Star Warsy in theme. Let's just call it that, because I know you're saying you're ripping it off, but stop it! Don't do that, John. This is going to be strict. This is strictly better than Star Wars. That's what I'll call it. Strictly.
So, John,
better.
I'm allowed to be self-deprecating because I hope you guys will rush to my defense and correct me. That's the way it works. That way I get to keep the false appearance of humility.
I have a question for you.
Sure, I love questions.
My favorite.
Wait, which John?
John, you're John, not JDA.
Okay. Pronounce the H. Okay.
Yeah, John.
No, stop pronouncing the H. That sounds terrible.
So, my favorite work of yours is a shorter piece. It's One Bright Star to Guide Them.
Oh,
and
do you know, John? He calls me about once a week to talk about this novella. I'm not joking. It's like, yeah,
I'm
John
not
C. Wright's
surprised.
novella, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I'm dead serious. Like, this is how much he gushes about it. I'll just
so
set it
what
down.
I'm curious about is, what do I need to do to bribe you or bribe your muse or whatever to, I mean, because you've just ripped off all these things in Star Wars. So when you're done, when you're done with the Grand Theft Star Wars, what do we need to do?
I have to go back to Green Knight Squire, which is not finished, and then I have to go back to Somewhere, which is not finished.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. What do I need to do to bribe you to get you to do that short trilogy where you tell the story of what went before One Bright Star to Guide Them?
Never. It can't happen.
Wow.
You want to know why?
Oh, I
Because
suspect
I've created
I
an
know.
illusion. I've created an illusion that there was a story behind the One Bright Star, but
Mhm.
it's all it is Narnia. You see?
Which you can rip off the same way that you ripped off Star
exactly.
Wars, is my point. It's all there, but you've already made a lot of those fundamental changes. I mean,
should also hasten to add, everyone recognizes the Narnia influence, but there's also a dozen other English school children in trouble books that I read when I was young, including Carbonell, King of Cats. That's where the main character
Right.
Cat comes from, and
But
so on and so forth.
you can
So there's
steal.
a whole.
You can
My
steal them
dear
too.
friend, what you have to do is go back and reread English fantasy stories from the 50s and 60s. That's where that is.
I know. I'm just saying, as a publisher,
Mhm.
that is a trilogy that I'm absolutely confident you can sell a ton of, because the Star Wars stuff is great, and I hope it does extremely well. And but this is the kind of story that literally, not only is no one writing anymore, you're the only person who is capable of writing it. I can't do it. JDA can't do it. Nick Cole and Jason Onspach and those guys. Nick Cole's a really good writer. He can't do it. You're the only one who could summon up that Chestertonian Inkling Lewis thing and imbue it with the magic that it requires. And I know that you can, because you did it. You created the illusion of it in One Bright Star to Guide Them. But
here's the problem. I write by inspiration. I don't write by calculation.
I know.
So
I'm just telling you that if you ever have inspiration strike in that direction, we would absolutely drop everything else and prioritize publishing that in leather with gold and diamonds on it.
Excellent.
Speaking of
If
dropping
I
everything
write-
else, my friends, Nesby, you're a customer. I drop everything for customers, and I appreciate it. Says I bought your sci-fi trilogy. He's talking about my Space Knight trilogy, the Justified Saga of the Nano Templar. Look forward to reading it when it comes in the mail. Thank you so much. Thanks for supporting the books here, and I hope you'll check out Star Quest as well. We have one more super chat from Eldritch Fan for $1.99. Seriously, how do you write women well? This is
that would require an entire episode, but I can sum it up for you. Men tend to think that women are illogical. This is not true. Women have a logic that's based on their what nature and nature's God has designed them to do. Now, like all things, generalizations are not universal statements. There are women who form an exceptions to the rules, the same way there's men who form exceptions to the rules. Some men are less masculine, some women are less feminine. But the feminine approach to things is based on being indirect rather than direct, being non-confrontational rather than confrontational, being non-hierarchical rather than hierarchical. Women love to find a consensus rather than just obey orders. This harkens back. Remember back when we all lived in the woods and we had just made a deal with the wolves to turn them into dogs and fire was a new thing? Remember those days? In those days, the hunters would go out and hunt and the gatherers would gather. The hunters, in order to hunt, men are persistence hunters like the dog. We stab an antelope and we chase it while it's bleeding. Okay, and we get distracted by anything else. Now, that function still exists when we're watching the ball game. We're completely focused on the game, and a different type of game, but you get what I'm meaning. And we can't be distracted by whatever it is you're talking about. Women, on the other hand, when they went out to gather things, had to check the fruits, the color, the shape, the size to see if they were good to eat or not. So they had to be able to multitask and be able to be distracted very easily and be able to come back to what they were doing before they were distracted. They also have to pay attention to the community. See, men tend to dominate by means of contests. You win or lose, okay? And the loser sides with the winner, or he gets destroyed. The loser accepts his place as the beta to the alpha. Women have alphas and betas, but this doesn't work the same way. You see, in women, whoever has the most influence, whoever can get the group to gather against the outliers, is the mother hen. Okay, this means that a woman, for example, I wrote a scene where a woman had to bash a bad guy in the back of the head with a rock to try to kill him. She couldn't bring herself to do it. She felt sorry for him, even though he was a menace. Okay, no man I ever write, no male character I ever write is ever going to suffer from those qualms. But that's because she's driven by the desire for consensus. Women cannot directly tell men what they want out of life, because that would spoil the mating dance. That would spoil the mating game. Women have to, men themselves, we don't know ourselves very well. We tend to be rational and direct. When a man wants something, he goes to get it. He collects his materials. He tries to accomplish it. When a woman wants something, she wants to complain about it. She doesn't want the problem solved. She wants to analyze what the personality traits are that make the problem soluble, that make a problem solver. That's why a woman doesn't want you to solve her problems. When she says, I had a problem, and you say, take a gun, go out and shoot it. And they say, no, just listen to me talk. Does that make sense? That's why women go on it and want you to listen. Okay. Because nature and nature's God have designed women to raise children. Children have to be shaped and molded into men and women. And so that the molding process requires that the woman understand the secret thoughts behind what is on the surface, that they understand the core of things, the heart of things. Men have to deal with surface features. During an emergency, I don't care what your feelings are. You have to run into the building when that's on fire. You have to man the guns. Okay, you have to hunt the game. You have to hew the wood. You have to do the task. Men are task oriented. We neglect those things that would impede the task being done. Okay, so I don't want to hear about your feelings. I want to hear whether you accomplish or whether you don't accomplish, whether you succeed or whether you fail. That's all I care about. Because if I succeed, I bring the bacon back. I bring the bacon back to the campfire where the women will cook it. They will sit around and talk with each other about what the men did right or wrong and what the children did right or wrong to try to get the community to operate correctly. Okay, because without the community, you're not going to have babies. And without the babies, you're not going to get the tribe is going to perish. So all these male and female psychological differences are fairly well known as stereotypes. But the trick is to make sure that when you speak in a generalization, that the individual characteristic of your particular character that you're trying to write comes across nonetheless. You say courage and virtue, temperance and justice are the same in men and women, but they're not done in the same way. See, there's a female approach to justice, which looks a lot like mercy, which is the way you treat a disobedient child. There's a male approach to justice, which is draconian, which is the way you treat an enemy. So there's two things that you just have to avoid. If you're writing a male character, don't have him talk about his feelings. Or if he talks about his feelings, have him do it in a stoical, indirect way, like a guy from a Western or like a guy from a film noir. Okay, you have to kind of guess his feelings because he's not going to tell you. Write him like he's Mr. Spock. If you're writing a female character, she has to not talk about her goals or not talk about what she's, how can I say this? She has to approach things in a feminine fashion, which means indirect, gentle, subtle. Okay? She's not going to overcome you by punching you in the face. She's going to humiliate you by getting society to turn against you. Now, if you want to know how females who are, and there's good females and bad females, if you want to know how bad female thinking works, there's a diseased form of both these things. The diseased form of the masculine approach is tyranny, domination. Okay? The diseased form of the feminine approach is leftism, is liberalism, because they find authority figures that they find the community, and they turn
I have
against
a
these
picture.
people and
I have a
expel
picture
them
of this
by
worth
means of
1,000
whispering
words.
campaigns. By means of
And
whispering campaigns.
Here's our picture of female.
Well, that's even deeper because the modern male seeks to be male, and men don't have babies, so they don't want to have babies.
Wow, that's a base take, and it's true.
No, it's a Christian take. These people are devil worshippers, and the devil doesn't like virgins, and they don't like mothers, and they particularly don't like the Catholic idea of a virgin mother who gave birth to Earth Jesus, who was not space Jesus.
And they're only used for
Jesus
babies.
failed at what he was doing, and our Jesus succeeded.
And they're only used for babies is to offer them to Moloch.
Yeah, they're Moloch worshippers, because they say they want equality, but it's actually just envy. That is why my main character girl has a bow and arrow, but she doesn't fight in combat. She's a shrine maiden. What she does is sweep. She cleans holy sites to create the curly and the auronitic energies that you need to do your magic, to do your mojo. You say
nice.
And the one time she has to kill someone, she feels bad about it later because she's a girl.
There's the Narnia influence.
Which is what's the Narnia?
You said she's got a bow and arrow, but she doesn't use it because
it's ugly when women fight. Yes, exactly.
There you go.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Love it.
Now it's a lightsaber bow, though. The arrowhead is made of ghost metal. It's made of a synthesis of material and spiritual substances that the alchemy of Andromeda has not forgotten how to make. So
excellent. Well, JDA, should we shill his book one more time and then move on to the news that you need to hit?
The Asmongold situation, which is insane. So here is Star Quest by John C. Wright, guys. And John is, I mean, you just heard him right here. He's brilliant. He understands character. He understands world building. He understands story on a level that nobody else does. And so this is something that is definitely worth your time, worth the read. I guess I do already have the digital version of this. I never look at digital things because I look at my screen too much all day, John. So I wait for the print edition, which I'm hoping will come soon.
I listen to books, and I don't have an audio version of this, and I don't want anyone else to do the voices but me, because my version of Luke Skywalker, I decided he was actually a country boy, so I made him like an Irish bog trader with an outrageous Irish accent, even though he's the Grand Master of the Templars and the most powerful psychic in the galaxy, except for the Dark Overlords, who he has to flee from.
So great stuff. This is in the description, guys, and definitely support John and his work here. Yes, you got 8 more books coming pretty soon. It sounds like, and then 3 more after that. 3, 4.
We were gonna space them just a few months apart, like 2 or 3 months. I'll talk it with the wife and with the publisher, and we'll see what we can do. I hope to get the last 3 written before they're due, but I'm not as fast as Vox Day remembers me as being, and I wish I were. I still have a day job, by the way. So all you guys, if you buy 10 copies of my book, all I have to do is increase my my writing income by about 1,000%, and I'll be able to retire and just spend my time writing.
Well, Beautiful. Let's get him there. He deserves it. So, is that so? John, do you want to stick around for the news of the day, or
sure?
Does that bore you? Okay, cool. So Asmongold is a video game streamer. If you guys don't know who he is, and that's here is a question for you real quick from Terran Blade for $2. Thank you for the super chat. John, where can I get a Paper Feasts and Seasons?
I don't know. I'm between publishers for most of my publications right now. I'd have to ask the wife, and she's not here. I honestly don't handle the business side of the operation. I really don't know who's publishing my books and where they are.
We've got a new editor now who's able to get stuff converted, and we've already. I mean, to be honest, some of that stuff we can just turn on. So just have Jaji shoot me an email if there's books that you want to get back in paper. We can take care of it.
Okay,
great. Okay, so we'll get it.
Send me an email after the show and not to remind me, because as you can see, I'm a blithering idiot. Oh no, wait! I'm a genius. Pardon me. I have to keep pretending I'm like Einstein. And the reason why I get lost walking to and from the store is because I'm so smart. That's a sure sign of.
Well, you're just writing your next 3 books simultaneously in your head.
I wish.
So
I wish.
I posted this Substack yesterday as it was breaking, and it just keeps going crazier. This is Asmongold, and here's my Substack. If you've not signed up, get an email every time I write an article, which I cover the pop culture news every single day. So make sure to sign up there. He started, he's streaming and just went off the cuff about the Israeli-Palestine conflict, and he's not a leftist, and so you know exactly how this is going to go. And he did go pretty edgy, I gotta say. And this is exactly what he said on here. Not my words again, so don't clip this. He says, if you want to consider a genocide as a systemic killing of a group of people, they have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So I'm not going to cry an effing river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a F. They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy people don't see it that way. They'd be doing the same thing. Yes. So because of that, he got jumped on. Everybody's saying he's advocating the genocide of the Palestinian people. And I don't see him as advocating it. I'm seeing that he says he doesn't care one way or another. And so that's the most horrific thing, as Palestine and Free Palestine is the leftist cause these days, beyond anything. Which
weren't they pro Israel just
that was last year.
Last year? Okay.
Yeah. So
the narrative shifted.
Right. So
We've
that's the
always
whole deal.
been at war with East Asia.
Precisely.
If you catch my
And
reference.
he got banned from Twitch immediately, but on his side account, his main account did not get banned. And immediately he took to X and made an apology yesterday, in which now he's done a Cope apology video, which I'm going to go over. In this Cope apology video, which we'll play, is a textbook what not to do when you are being under SJW attack. Somebody, I can't remember who wrote a book about what to do when under SJW attack. This was the direct opposite of that.
I should warn both you gentlemen that if this gets too intense for me, I'm gonna have to turn off my camera because I don't want my fans to see me vomiting.
Okay.
Because I actually have a rather, like Vox Day, I have a gentle and delicate constitution and can't and easily move to tears by seeing humans turn into wretched bags of weakness.
So he says, looking back on it, I was way too much of an a-hole about the Palestine thing. My bad. Of course, no one deserves to have their life destroyed, even if they do things or have views I find regressive. You guys deserve more than me saying stupid S like that. I'll do better. Be better, Asmongold.
And that didn't fix everything?
Guess what happened after he apologized, Vox?
Well, I'm going to guess that he got kicked off everything.
Well, immediately he got one of his sponsors who is sponsoring his video game company, another big YouTuber, cut ties with him and decided he's no longer going to work with him anymore. And John Trent talked about this here. And here it is. Detective Seeds ends his partnership. And it was quite the virtue signal from Detective Seeds, who, after Asmongold apologized, said, "My bad. I am no longer partnered with Starforge Systems PC. I have requested my code be removed from the usage after a year of partnership due to the comments made by Asmongold, who is one of the owners. I have Muslim friends in that region, and I cannot represent that project after his comments." Wasn't enough, Vox.
Pardon me. Let me ask one question real quick. Was that written by a man or a woman?
Man.
That was a man.
Yeah.
No. It was written by a woman, a female cis, has taken possession of his body because that's the way a woman would approach things. Indirectly by using peer pressure, by using social pressure against and to ostracize someone. That's why when you apologize to a man, he might spare your life and make you his servant. Okay, that's how male hierarchies get started. If you apologize to a woman, she takes that as confession.
Oh, it goes further. I will take the heat for the decision to myself. It won't bother me. I've traveled the world long enough to know that not everyone who uses a prayer rug, prays to Allah, and fasts during Ramadan wants to kill me. Well, that's okay. Sure. Of course, some twist the religion and happens with them all. And those dudes go into the dirt hard. But most Muslims I have met, worked with, helped, treated me with kindness and mutual respect. It's a religion of peace, chat. It's a religion of peace.
I always find it interesting how these people who don't have anything to do with Islam suddenly become experts in the religion with regards to, well, they're twisting it. They don't mean what they say, you know.
And
but don't worry,
they don't
he is
listen
the
to
victim.
what, and they
Detective
don't listen to
Seeds.
what they don't listen to what the scholars and the lawyers and the imams of that religion say about their own religion.
Well, and I mean, and honestly, to be fair, I mean, they're hardly the only ones. I mean, it's you get that excuse all the time from various different religions, you know, beginning with Ahimsa Buddhism and all the way down the alphabet. But it's particularly egregious when you've got Westerners talking. I mean, Westerners talking about Islam is about as silly as your average California stoner talking about Buddhism. I mean, they have literally no idea.
Right. Yeah. But don't worry, guys. Detective Seeds, who's canceling Asmongold after Asmongold apologized, is the real victim here. Yes, you can't write this script anymore, obviously. The last 24 hours, I have had death emails, messages, dislikes, and stuff on my vids. It's all good. I stand by my decision and what I did, even if you do not agree with it. That's cancel culture. Call me what you want. I did not harm anyone with my actions or stance, and I would do it again.
You literally just harmed Asmongold.
Right. But Asmongold didn't actually harm anybody. He just said what he thought. That didn't harm anybody.
Yeah. In fairness, he did say it very poorly.
He said it terribly.
The correct way to say I don't care is to say I don't care about X. I don't care about the Middle East. And leave it at that. I mean, basically, if you are in a position where you're faced with potential deplatforming and bannings and that sort of thing, the best thing you can do is say what you think and don't say anything after the word because.
I would like my tax dollars not to go to the Middle East, but to go to Florida. I think that would make more sense as an American.
Well, there's that too. There's plenty of justifiable things, but the point is that I don't believe he cares.
Right.
But saying I don't care wouldn't have gotten him in the amount of hot waters because he felt the need to explain why he didn't care. And I think that
after this, guys, don't worry. He did a 20-minute apology video, which we still haven't gotten to. However,
if you're going to play the whole 20-minute video, I am going to say goodbye and back out.
That's fine.
I can't stand 20 minutes of wokeness. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry. He's gonna apologize.
It did get deeper here, didn't it?
It gets deep. It already got deeper. Where like hours after he got canceled by this YouTuber, he now is fired from his own PC company for saying terrorists are bad. Yes, we have spoken to Asmongold and have mutually agreed to part ways. Now, by the way, this was the exact same scenario that happened to streamer Dr. Disrespect several months ago. The difference being Dr. Disrespect was accused of sexting with minors, which is a crime. Asmongold just said he didn't care about the Middle East. That's equivalent in cancel culture society, apparently. And so, which is wild to me. Starforge.
No. He did more than that. You're whitewashing it. He expressed disrespect for Muhammad.
Right.
And Muhammad is an Antichrist figure. And all the other people who serve Antichrist, even though they're, let's say, sexually abnormal, have to make an alliance against the church, have to make an alliance against Christ. So they're natural allies, even though they hate each other. If you remember the scene in Tolkien where there's two orcs who are arguing and one shoots the other, and the hobbits say...
explanation of why the leftoids who are controlled by the Jews are also pro-Palestine I've ever heard.
Queers for Palestine, you mean?
Yeah, I've never heard that explained, and it makes so much sense now.
They're both against virginity and motherhood, and they're against the Virgin Mother. They're against the church. Wow. They're against Christ.
Well, the problem is, I mean, the fundamental problem is like, I live in Europe and have for, nearly 30 years now. The perspective over here is actually less about the ideologies and the beliefs and that sort of thing, which in the U.S. context, that's obviously still quite relevant. The fundamental problem from the European side is just that, regardless of not every Palestinian is a member of Hamas and so forth, and what is happening there looks way too much like some form of ethnic cleansing, which is not going to go over well in most circles. And when you start talking about, I mean, where Asmongold really stepped in it badly is when he's basically saying, well, it's okay to genocide people if you think that they're prone to genocide.
If they're genocidal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a dumb statement. And the thing is, he's video game streaming. He's speaking off the cuff.
Right.
That's why I'm like, and whatever. He just spoke poorly, and that's obvious, right?
Yeah.
And it's obvious in how fast he apologized too. That like he obviously does not mean that. So this is overkill to cancel him. Yeah.
But well, and not only that, but I think that it's also partly, I think in a way that some of the people that are getting canceled because of the Middle East and who are going to be canceled because of the Middle East, I mean, there is a pretty significant rhetorical PR war that's taking place right now. And I mean, it's very strong rhetoric, and there's a lot of resources being put into both sides because politics has really shifted in the United States. So like, for example, I'll give you an example. In Minneapolis was one of the first signs of this. There was a older Jewish lady who had represented the district of Minneapolis for like 30 years, and which was insane because she was like the only Jew in the entire district, but she got parachuted in 30 years ago and had done a pretty good job representing them. So fine. And she was really upset when she got unceremoniously defeated in the primary by the Somali candidate, because the Somalis all voted for the Somali candidate in that particular district. And so, right now, there's this whole sort of meta conflict that's taking place because both sides, Israel and the Arab states, are competing within the United States itself. And so that political struggle that is taking place between, what do they call them? The four Democratic women they called the Squad. I think that at least two of them are Muslim. And the conventional.
Pardon me. Let me interrupt you to say, Mr. De La Rose, my same theory applies to why atheist communists like Red Cortez side with Muslims. You see, because communism is against God, and the Muslims are against God.
Right. But remember, back in the Soviet Union was Israel's biggest supporter for the first 20
because it
years.
undermined British power.
Well, yes, exactly. So,
but the Soviet Union also are the ones who trained the terrorists to be terrorists. That's where the Middle Eastern picked up the habit. That's all communist cell structure.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that what we're seeing here with Asmongold and that sort of thing, I think the level of overreaction to it is a reflection of that political battle that's taking place right now between, for lack of a better term, I mean, I tend to think of it as AI pack on the one side and the Somalis writ large. In Minnesota and Minneapolis, the whole Muslim thing is essentially Somali. So that's not all it is, but in that particular region, that's all it is. And so,
gentlemen, I may have to bow out after all because I don't think I can stand 20 minutes of
this
groveling.
This is his plans moving forward. These videos always go very well, and this is exactly what every YouTuber should do in the face of.
I think you should just shoot a dog that is in pain rather than making it beg. It's just not, It's just
this video
do it to a dog, so you should not do it to a man. With my greatest respect, I'm gonna bow out now because.
Good to see you, John.
Blame my delicate constitution.
Good to see you, John. Well, I'll put something about StarQuest up soon.
And
we appreciate you being
shoot me
there.
that email to remind me of what we discussed. Okay.
Absolutely.
And for all your viewers, Mr. Del Rose, remind them that anyone who buys 10 copies of Star Wars will get a gold crown when they ascend to the StarQuest. Sorry.
Yes.
So, oops! What a Freudian slip.
No copyright infringement intended. Legal disclaimer.
A Freudian slip is when you say one thing and you mean your mother. So they will get special Curlian superpowers from the Andromeda Galaxy if they buy enough books. I'm just saying that to you right now. So.
That's a deal.
Excellent. Well, we are ever in support of you, John. And anytime you have anything coming out, we got your back. Thank you for being here, and thank you for writing.
Hey, sir, if I can crank these out as quickly as I'd like to, I'll be talking to you in 2 or 3 months for the second book, which is called Secret Agents of the Galaxy. Awesome. The one after that is called Cat Burglar in the Constellations. And then I have a book that's called, one of the next ones coming after that is called A Scourge of the Spaceways. And if you can find a more pulp fiction story title than that, I double dog dare you. I don't think it exists. The pulps are making a comeback, friends. The old science fiction is withering on the vine. We're going to return to our roots. So, God bless, gentlemen. God bless.
You too. We'll see you soon. All right. So I watched this with my son earlier in prep of this, who's 15 and a gamer. And his direct quote was, "Why do YouTubers do this? That's so cringe, bro." And I didn't have an answer because he's right. Oh, it's so bad. So brace yourselves, chat. This is the ultimate cope stream. It is painful and that's why John C. Wright, he knows it is that painful. Here we go.
Also, what my plans
Bring the
are
pain
going forward. I'm going to try and structure this video into 2 parts, where the first part is going to be me talking about the Twitch suspension. Second part is going to be talking about myself. And the first thing I want to start off with is something that I know it might sound a little bit insincere because of how ridiculous this is, but I really mean it. And if you listen to the whole video, I hope you can see why. Everybody who's come and spoken out and talked to me and said stuff about me, aside from the, oh, you should kill yourself or something like that, I want to say that I really appreciate you. And I think this has been something that's a long time coming. And I actually think that this is something that not only I deserved, but it's also something that I needed. And I want to talk about what the reason for that is, but I want to start off and just make sure that that's actually very clear. So a couple of days ago, I made some comments about Palestine and also about Hamas and just general, basically opinions that were trivializing the genocide that's happening there. And I don't really want to mince words or try to oh, I wasn't justifying or, promoting it. I said something about it that was disgusting. I said that I didn't care about innocent people getting killed.
He didn't care.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh.
It's such a bad idea to try to
explain this.
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason, nobody would have cared at all if he had simply said, "I don't care about the Middle East. Not my problem. Not my country's problem. Why don't we focus on fixing things in Tennessee and North Carolina and Florida?"
Right. That's what I think.
After we get all that solved, then maybe we can think about this other stuff. And
clearly that's what he meant. I mean, so
right. But what he's trying to do is he's trying to agree with what they said so that they will accept him as one of them again and forgive him. Which
now, as I recall, in SJW's Always Lie, that never works. Somebody once wrote. Okay.
It absolutely never works because what do SJWs actually do when they step in it?
When they actually cause a problem,
when they make a mistake, when they get caught out, and so forth, what do? They don't apologize.
They blame somebody else.
They either blame somebody else or they double down. They just say, "And what's the matter with that? You're a racist if you think that I'm a bad person." So, I mean, he would have been much better off to come out swinging
Right.
and call them all racist.
These people attacking me are a bunch of racists who hate Jews. Yeah, something
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that. Right?
I mean,
yeah,
exactly. If he'd come out and played the anti-Semitic card and started wearing an, IDF thing,
a Yamaha.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, he would have. I'm not saying that would have necessarily worked because, like I said, there is a big rhetorical war taking place right now.
Yeah, and he did botch what he said pretty badly too. So
So, but the thing is that this kind of apology is never going to work.
No,
by another force, by anything, and I think that that's a horrible, disgusting, mean-spirited thing to say.
Oh God!
And I don't necessarily think that it was really racist, really. But when I'm using language like Palestinians or like the people there, rather than what my real language was, I've always been very outspoken and very against religious extremism, and I still am. I think that any religion and any way of thinking that's going to cause you to put other people in like kind of positions below you as like, gay people, women, people with disabilities.
Oh no, Fox.
Jeez.
No.
I don't just not care about the genocide of Palestinians. Now he doesn't care about the genocide of any religious people.
Yes, because he's thinking about the women and the minority and the LGBTs and the people with disabilities. As one does, what a phony corporate statement. He just threw it against the wall, trying to throw all the identity stuff, being like, "I respect you, SJWs." Yeah.
Is anything like that. I think that that's a really bad position to have, and I really don't like that. And I think that my problem and my fault here was that I was making a criticism of religious extremism, and I made no effort. And I feel like almost I've rewatched the clip, right, or a number of the clips, and it's like I've almost made an effort not to draw a distinction between the two things. I think that a lot of us here can easily say that we're against religious extremism, and I am. But whenever I categorize everybody,
let me remind you, sir, that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice, and moderation in the pursuit of justice is no virtue.
And
I'm all for yes.
Also, tolerance is the sin of Jeroboam.
That's right. Tolerance is not a Christian virtue.
I am a religious extremist.
Me too. I'm happy to be one.
And if Asmongold has a problem with that, well, it's not really my problem because apparently he's canceled.
He's dead. Yes, that's true.
Everybody in the area as this like group, then I'm the asshole, and I was the asshole.
Oh God!
I had a lot of you guys tell me that, and it's taken me. This is what's so crazy about it is that I think this has been going on now for like 2 years. I think that I've been slowly devolving into the most mean-spirited. I don't really even know what the word is for it. Just like the most mean-spirited, rude, like nasty, like just callous, psychopathic version of myself. I think that I've been devolving into this, and a lot of my friends have told
he's gonna live, laugh, love now. Vox.
He's turning into a wine. He's turning into a wine amp.
Yes.
My dad has told me this. He said, "You've got to chill out. You've got to calm down." I've been like, "Oh, the old man doesn't know what he's talking about," and
this is so
I
bad.
finally had some level of accountability for that.
Oh God!
And thank God. I look back at some of the things that I've said and done over the past 2 years, and I don't think that I've been wrong about everything. Obviously,
now this is where it gets crazy, and this is where I don't know if Twitch corporate is forcing him to do this, or what overlord is making him do it. But not only has he talked, now he's broadened the scope from his like stupid comments about Islam or whatever that were just phrased poorly to everything over the past 2 years. Now, over the past 2 years, Asmongold has become an anti-woke force in video games. And so now he's expanded the scope to his anti-woke force in video games is actually a bad thing, and he never should have done it. And this
it's psychopathic and all that.
So now he's calling our entire movement that. And these are the people that made his channel famous. This is crazy. And I mean, somebody's got some sort of proverbial gun to his head doing this. I mean, I don't know what corporation it might be. Twitch, might be one of his sponsors, but this isn't natural. I can tell you that right now. That's wild.
Obviously, right? But there have been ways that I've communicated and ways that I've acted that are indefensible. And I think it's, looking back on it, it's just disgusting. And it's something that when you get lost in the sauce and you get fixated around like listening and reading feedback and, just getting hyper fixated, this is like your entire life, you lose a perspective on reality and you lose a perspective on the world. And I think that perspective was brought into,
Jordan Peterson would tell this guy to clean his room. I would tell you that right now, Vox.
He should probably wash his penis.
That'll fix everything.
Perspective yesterday and the day before, when I was making
just no math,
this, and I feel so stupid. It's crazy. So I'm getting all these people making negative comments toward me. Everybody is telling me like, "Oh, go kill yourself. I hate you." Everything like this.
They
who reached out to me, and
do you know who reached out to him? Vox
wanted to talk and have a conversation and see if I was okay. It's people that were Islamic and people that were
my good friends, the Muslims, reached out to me You can't make this up. You can't make this up. This is so bad. Oh my gosh. Have you seen such equivocating ever? I mean, this is really crazy.
No, I like the way that he's almost in tears though. He's like so touched.
Palestine. And how humiliating is that? How absolutely humiliating is that? And these were the people I was trying to say were bad. And I feel like such a fucking stupid asshole. I really do.
Wow.
I've always been I guess like I've always been kind of like an atheist. And even as a young kid.
There it is, chat. I've always been kind of like an atheist, and now you can disregard everything he is ever going to say going forward. It's over. Okay.
Well, the thing is
cool.
I mean, I'm half expecting him to like convert to Islam by about the 15th minute at this point.
Kid, I was raised Roman Catholic, and I was always very defiant towards it. And I've always had a negative opinion of religion, and I've also had a negative opinion of religious cultures. And I think that opinion is definitely shaped by the media that I've created, and the media I've created for myself, and then also just the media that exists, the media that I've chose to seek out as well. And
degeneracy and self-worship,
no, but it is fair. It is fair though that the media is very anti-Christian. I mean, that's not a secret.
Yeah.
So.
I think that media has allowed me to have certain predispositions and certain biases that the truth is that don't have any sort of relation to what my own real life has been experienced, or what my own real life experience has been, excuse me. And so,
like for example,
I've been spending a lot of time talking.
For example, his bias against religious extremists.
Right.
That's like, dude, you literally we're bragging about how you're still biased against religious extremists. And then you're like, well, then the media made me biased. We're like, yeah, that's the bias it made you.
Right. Yeah.
But he still doesn't understand that. I mean, he's going to put his foot in it again because he has no understanding of even what he's done.
Oh, it's going to get better.
And talking to those people, and I've seen people like fans of mine, like I had viewers messaging me on Discord, like, why are you saying this? Like, do you want to talk? Do you want to, like, I'm willing to talk to you, and like, let's try to work this out, right? We love you. And I scrolled up on their messages, and these are people that messaged me in like 2016, 2017, 2018, like, I love your content, I love your stream, I love you, right? And now they get to hear this from me, and I just feel like such a stupid, belligerent fucking asshole. I really do, and I'm sorry. I really am. I think that it's extremely fair to criticize religious extremism, and I think that it's extremely unfair to categorize everybody in part of that group as religious extremists.
Terrible.
So why do you think it's okay to criticize religious extremists? I mean,
the media.
Exactly. It's like, do you not see the vicious circle you're creating?
But now the media tells me it's not okay to criticize these people. So the media, the media is going to say, and I gotta follow the media.
I'm really sorry for
that.
I've just been,
and this just shows he's got no values. That's all it is. But he's an atheist, so he already told me he has no values.
Of course he doesn't.
Yeah. And it's weird because yesterday I woke up and I didn't know if I was going to get suspended or not, and I planned on streaming and everything. And I actually got a text message from one of my mods. They said, "Oh, I heard about the suspension. I'm sorry." And I was like, I remember I was like driving, and like, you know, you'd think that like your heart rate would go up, but if anything, I felt more relaxed. I felt like finally I have a moment to just take a step back and breathe and think.
He can live, laugh, love now that he's been suspended from
Secret
Twitch.
King wins again. What I did was really bad, and here's why it's good.
Yes, and that's a good thing, as the Kotaku article will undoubtedly say.
Yeah, exactly.
Think for myself and just stop, just like get out of my own head. And I spent a long time like just writing basically a list of all of these things that like I think that I should be doing with my life. And this is going to be kind of the second part, by the way, of the video. Comments that I made were pretty much about religious extremism. I think it's bad, but I've categorized a lot of people in that way. That was unfair. It's wrong for me to have done that. I said something that was bad. I should not have said that. I should have chosen my words more carefully. I didn't do that. I doubled down on it. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. That's pretty much. I was a fucking asshole. I was a piece of shit. I'm sorry.
Jeez, I mean, the litany of like how bad of a person he is
it's just
just
self-flagellation. It's exactly self-flagellation is the only description.
I don't know what else to say, and so actually, I do know what else to say.
Uh-oh.
I don't like making apologies because I think words don't matter. But
wait, what? If words don't matter, why are you doing this?
Because he was told to
I do
say
think
it.
changed actions
and
changed behaviors do. And so you can take my apology as hopefully better content. And if you're not seeing that, I want you to hold me accountable. Hopefully this time I won't be stupid enough to ignore it. Mouth is pretty dry. Anyway.
Is he on amphetamines?
Definitely not meth.
Yeah.
So the second part about this is that I want to talk a little bit about like my life, my personal life.
Too dirty. That's true.
And kind of some of the points that I think that I've kind of gone through to get here. So the main thing is that for the past, like, I would say like 10 years or so, if you look at my life like this, I would have said 10 years ago, or maybe 8 years ago, streaming was like this, right? YouTube was like this. And now I would say that my life and streaming are basically the exact.
Well, I mean, you've got a 3 million sub channel and it's your job. I mean, that's what you do.
Right. Nothing wrong with that.
And what I mean by that is that streaming is my entire life. Doing this is my entire existence. And I think that the process of that has been extremely unhealthy for me. And I think that what it's done is that...
What is it Jeffro Johnson always tells people to say, the writer of the Appendix N? Go outside, say hi to a pretty girl, touch grass. Maybe that's what he should do. And definitely say hi to a pretty girl. I think he might be too scared to do that, though. So...
that it's allowed me to become such a one-dimensional person that I'm not even a person anymore. It's like I'm Dark Souls, I'm going hollow or something. And I think about like all of the, you know, like I made a list of all of the things that I'm not doing in my life that I should be doing. And I was writing it down and I'm like, you know, fucking like, I'm just going. I'm like, oh my God, I think it'd be shorter if I transcribed the Bible. Like, this is insane. Like I'm like, whenever.
Maybe you should transcribe the Bible and then you'd like, might come out of this.
And learn something.
Idea. Yeah.
I have everything written down line for line. It's like, oh my God, I'm ruining my life. I've been existing and I want to, at a certain point, actually try to live my life. And I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, you made you're getting canceled. It's already over, like, bro.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, he's not going to get completely canceled. You know, the position that he holds is going to be supported by some people. And some people, like, for example, I would be willing to bet he doesn't get canceled by YouTube.
I agree. I don't think YouTube will either.
And so, you know, he's just going to take a big hit, and but you know, he'll still be around. He'll still be pretty big. He's going to probably stop doing the anti-SJW, anti-woke content. Probably yes.
Yeah.
Probably yes.
I think that I've been doing that. And so what am I going to do? How am I going to do that differently? And what does that mean for my stream, et cetera?
Here we go.
I think that I'm going to cut down a little bit on streaming quite as much. And I think I'm also going to cut down. This is going to sound like, I hope I can say this in the right way. I feel like the main times that I laugh on my stream nowadays are when I'm laughing at other people. And I look back on videos that I did from 2020, 2016, and 17. And yeah, I've always been an asshole. But holy shit, I've been way more of an asshole. It's insane. And it's a night and day difference. And I've had, again, everybody in the world telling me this, including my...
He's going to stop making fun of people on the internet. That will fix everything. Yes.
That'll last about 2 weeks.
My own dad.
You can't have a YouTube channel and not make fun of people on the internet. That's the whole game.
Sure you can.
I just ignored them. And
look at the positivity on the dark stream. Relentless positivity.
I mean, there's a reason you're banned.
I'm too positive.
Finally, it's like, you know what?
You're too positive.
Maybe I'm an asshole. Maybe this is too far. Maybe I need a course correction, which is why I think that like getting suspended in this, I hope that it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. I don't know whether that's going to be true, but I'm going to try to do things differently and make sure to live up to that reality. And so what are those things that I'm going to be doing differently? The first thing is that I think I'm going to try. I've been very much trying to like maintain a consistent schedule with my stream, and I will continue to do that. I want to get up and go to bed at relatively the same time. I want to live a normal life. And also I want to spend maybe a little bit less time streaming, and I want to spend more time creating my own videos and doing my own things and spending time on things that I really enjoy, and basically just like expanding my existence as a person. I think that ever since I started like OTK and I got involved with that, and then we had like other Starforge and like Mad Mushroom and Mythic and everything, like honestly, it's been too much for me to handle. It's been completely too much for me to handle. And I've been losing my mind dealing with it. And I try to hide it.
It's a good thing they took Starforge off his plate.
Yeah, it's gone now. So he lost that.
I mean, that helps. Secret King
What's
wins
interesting
again.
is like he's going to stop streaming, but he's going to make more videos. And it's like, aren't you just kind of staring at the screen doing the internet? Isn't it the same thing? But okay.
Because, you know, I try to do the best, right? I try to do.
You should transcribe the Bible. I mean, I liked that plan.
My best. You know, it doesn't matter how hard it gets. You just keep going. You just keep going. It doesn't matter. And eventually it does matter.
Wright doesn't know what
I
he's
think that I've negatively affected a lot of them. And I also don't want to talk about that just in the context of just like this recent controversy. I want to talk about this in the context of the last 2 years. I think that I haven't really been able to fulfill my responsibilities as a leader in a lot of cases to them. And
he's been a bad leader in video gaming, guys, over the last 2 years because he's been too mean on the internet. This is where it's going, and this is why I'm saying this. You know, somebody at corporate is telling him to do this, and it's not just about invalidating what happened earlier. As I said, it's about invalidating all of his anti-woke takes. It's about invalidating the anti-woke movement inside video gaming. That's what they're trying to do now. He's trying to say that everybody who follows him and all that, we're all mean-spirited in this because we don't want a bunch of like gay, disabled, black, lesbian leads in our video games. And this is it. This is Twitch taking down one of the top channels that actually talks about this stuff. He doesn't talk about this nearly as hard as a lot of people in our circles do. Obviously, there's this channel. Smash JT is a great one. Hypnotic's a great one. We're not going to be people who equivocate either. I'm seeing, and this is a trend I'm seeing, by the way, because it's been with this guy. We saw Just Some Guy a couple years back. We see what's happening with your boy Zach over on his channel in comics. These guys who came up in 2016, 2017 in the YouTube sphere they were kind of like KG, didn't really want to be a part of the culture war. They just wanted to exist within the mainstream and hope that they'd get some head pats and people would see them their way. The crop that's coming up now are people who do not care and are just saying, you know what, we're just going to burn these SJWs down. And it is that sad puppies to rabid puppies transition you're seeing in YouTube right now. And like I said, it's open. It's, you know, for us, it's great because it is opening a lot of eyeballs up off of, 10-hour Asmongold streams who might come check out, all these channels I just mentioned. But for him, it's just kind of sad that he just wasn't the real deal. That's all.
Yeah, but it's not surprising. I mean,
yeah,
you don't get to 3 million views like that if you have a backbone,
right?
And so, I mean, for example, if you look at Ethan Van Sciver, you may have your differences of opinion of him and that sort of thing, but he's not afraid to say exactly what he thinks about the SJW destroying comics and that sort of thing.
Right.
He's very forthright about that. You're very forthright about that. Obviously, I don't really have much to say about comics, but I've certainly spoken directly out about it in science fiction, and the comics that we do we don't even pay the slightest bit of attention to that SJW nonsense.
Right.
Guys like Asmongold and some of the others, at the end of the day, they just want numbers. And so their principles are, to the extent they exist at all, they're kind of negotiable.
We got a bunch of Gamergate tours in the chat. Hello, friends.
And I think that I've let a lot of people down. And there have been things that I've done that are positive as well. But I think that one thing this thing has taught me, this whole situation has taught me, it's made me realize, is that I need to get myself in check. I need to get my mind under control. I need to just get my life I need to fix my fucking life. It's insane. I think about it and it's just.
I made one dumb comment on a stream to I need to fix my effing life. This is wild. I mean, what a.
I'm not saying he's wrong.
Right.
I'm not saying he's wrong, but I'm dubious about the motivation,
the causality. Yeah.
It's in shambles. Everything about my life is basically fucked. And I'm going to take a step back from all of that. I'm going to step away from my leadership position and OTK and Starforge and everything. I want to, and they're fine with that. They respect that, and I want to do this. And
they asked him to do it, and now he's pretending like it's his idea. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to do this not only for them, but mainly for myself, so I can be a better version of myself for everyone. And I want to apologize to all you guys, my viewers, that I don't think I've lived up to that. I think that I can be a lot better than what I am right now.
Be better.
And I don't even think that I've been putting in half the effort that I should be in the way that I should be. And I'm sorry. And so my plan is to, when I get on down, I'll keep streaming regularly, right? And I want to focus more on trying to do things that are fun, trying to laugh more with people rather than at people.
Live, laugh, love.
Yeah, love, laugh, love. I told you at the beginning of this is exactly what he's going to do.
Once in a while, okay? Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. But it's about a focus, and it's about a tone. I listen to my tone in the clip, and I just sound like such a piece of shit. Really, at the end of the day, I sound like a piece of shit. I sound like a terrible person, and it's just so mean-spirited and callous, and just.
Now he sounds like a woman.
I know. It's just
mean, and I don't want to be that person anymore. And I've spent a long time growing up. The time I did, I was an r/atheism enjoyer. I have a very negative opinion.
Not only is he an atheist, he's a Reddit atheist.
Which is not even remotely surprising.
I had the experience understand of the negative effects of Christianity, and the way
negative
that I do that.
Of Christianity.
And I've always read a lot of very bad things about Islam, and I've made a lot of criticisms of it. I've talked to a lot of people about it. I've heard a lot about it, and I've been watching things about it, and I've been hearing people telling me this is the way it is, but I've never seen it. And I actually think that after all this, I think towards the end of next year, I think I'd like to visit the Middle East and see it.
Oh gosh! Oh god!
Oh
Fox, why? I mean, it's almost beyond commentary. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, this. If you want to know why you shouldn't take the ticket, this is why.
Great still frame.
This is what they will turn you into.
Oh gosh!
For one slip, for one violation of the narrative, boom,
it's over.
I want to see it for a historical perspective, right? I would love to go to Istanbul in Turkey. There's no ulterior motive there at all. But it's not just that. I'd love to visit places like Saudi Arabia, Dubai, any of the other places. I mean, the truth is that, and this is the worst thing about what I said, some of the places that I would want to visit, I might not be able to because of the way that they're just the internal strife, the actual literal wars that are going on, people being literally killed there, and I might not be able to do that.
I'd love to see him to go into the war zone and be like, look, I apologize for the things I said on YouTube.
Go to Gaza. Can you imagine how totally traumatized he would be if he actually went to Gaza and saw what was taking place there?
Unbelievable. Baron also says, not only don't take the ticket, don't frequent Reddit. That is a very good life advice. So
unless
But
of course, you're posting to Neil Gaiman memes.
Neil Gaiman memes is a just like it's beautiful island in the sea of shit.
It's a safe space. It's a safe space.
It's a safe space.
I want to do it, and I want to see it for myself, because I don't like believing what people tell me, and I think that when I do, I end up being a fool, and I want to see it. I want to see it for myself, and I want to experience it, and I want to live my life. And
back to live, laugh, love.
I'm going
in
to
the
try
Middle
to,
East.
I don't know, clean up part of my house. I'm going to try to
please clean up part of your house.
I
don't agree. I
Clean
don't
your
agree with Jordan
room.
Peterson. I don't agree with him often. But I mean, he's got like fast food trash over here, like food on the thing, toys like for children over there. I mean, a coat hanger. What's the coat hanger for on the wall?
Maybe he's a part-time abortionist.
Yeah, geez. I mean, the guy does need to clean his room. It's true.
Yes.
I was raised Roman Catholic. I view this as a penance. And
an atheistic penance.
I think I need to do this for myself. I need to take accountability for bad things that I've done and for letting my life get this out of control. And I don't need a get out of jail free card. So I need to do that for myself and for my own closure as well. And I think also I want to live for the idiots out there that, they're, like looking to me to be a role model, right? Oh, not a good idea. But there are people that will see.
Fox, if I ever make a video like this, will you just take away my internet? Like, just not allow me to ever be on the internet again. I mean, this is embarrassing.
Oh, we'll do more than that.
Okay, thank you.
We'll put you out of your misery. I'll just send a pair of VFM. It'll all be over quickly.
Thank you. It'll be less painful that way. Yes.
At least it'll be quick.
Maybe I should do the same thing. And if I can do that for one person, well, I've already done it for myself. I've already done a good thing, and so it could only get better. And so that's what my plan is. I'm going to try to rethink my life. I have had a lot of people reach out to me. People I would have never expected to reach out to me in ways that I never expected. And I understand that I'm still very critical about religious fundamentalism, right? But
not
when you paint
Muslims.
with such a broad brush that you just include an entire group of people, you're just being you're being a piece of shit. It's like people said it was racist. I didn't mean it as racist, but if you listen to what I said, it's easy that you could assume that. It's so easy. And so I'm just a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking moron. I've been an asshole. I think that I've devolved for the last 2 years. I think that negatively affected other people too, in ways that I hate. I don't even hate to say this. I think I need to say this. I need to say it more. I've negatively affected people in ways that I regret. I think whenever I go back live again, I'll probably talk about that more. And there's some just different people I kind of want to apologize to and take accountability.
It better be Melanie Mack. If you don't apologize to Melanie Mack, then that's all I want to hear.
For things that I've said and done that have negatively affected other people in ways that were unfair and wrong. And that's what my plan is. That's about it. I want to say that I hope that now, after you've heard what I have to say, that a lot of you all can see kind of why I'm saying that I appreciate this. I really think
I don't want to lose my corporate contracts, and I'm really, really, really hoping that Twitch will not just keep me banned forever. Please, please, please don't ban me. Please don't ban me. Please don't ban me. Please don't ban me.
All right.
That this is something I needed, and I hope that this is the next part of the rest of my life. And I want you guys to hold me accountable to that. So if I'm being a fucking asshole again, if I'm being mean, if I'm just being callous, acting like a psychopath, just treating people awfully outside of a WoW raid when they get killed by fire, but really laughing at people's misfortune, try to say, man, just chill the fuck out. Stop it. Just stop. And I'm going to do my best to listen. I spent 2 years ignoring it, and look where it got me. This is not even the tip of the iceberg of the problems in my life.
Oh, God.
And I want to thank everybody for making me aware that that's the case. And hopefully I can avoid the iceberg, right? And so I want to say that's pretty much about all I've got. I'm sorry for a lot of people I let down, not just with comments like this, but also just with
You should be sorry for apologizing
I
this
think that you guys deserve a much
lamely.
better version of me than what you've been getting. And I hope that I can live up to that in the future. And I don't even want to think about it in the future, right? As soon as I get unbanned, the best apology is better content, change behavior. And that's what I hope to do. So yeah, anyway, guys, I'm just going to focus on myself for a while, try to improve my own life. And there's a lot of things I think, again, I'll probably talk about more that are like more kind of,
that's really the way to cure
personal stuff.
Cure offensive behavior. Focus on yourself.
Focus on yourself. Yeah.
I think I'm going to try that one the next time that Space Bunny gets upset with me. I'm like, honey,
I'm going to focus on
I'm
myself.
really, really sorry. I've really been an asshole. I know it's been hard for you, but don't worry. I'm going to focus on myself.
That's hilarious. That's going to go great for you.
But overall, that's the big picture. That's where I'm at. And so anyway, that's about all I've got. And I'll see you guys soon.
That's all you got. Yeah, good stuff. Cleaning room stream would be the most viewed of all time. It's good. I said blink twice if you're being held hostage. There was Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers was the top comment on here, and it was liked over 1,000 times, and it said never apologize, but it looks like he hit it. So, bruh, Twitch ban is a badge of honor. Yeah, that's true. Religion isn't race. We're sick of people using race as a shield to defend religious wrongdoing. Bro talked about changing, then drank water as a way to visualize it. Zach, YouTube apology is a 7 out of 10 according to IGN. That's so good. Bro got canceled into cleaning his room. This is the best YouTube video apology I've ever seen. Shit, now I've got to clean my room. Everybody is really fixated on the room. So this is why the podcast is ending. Asman wants to clean his room so bad he's literally glowing. Asman apology vid was never on my... he's not getting... His audience does not like this for the most part. There's a few comments, but you can tell they're just mocking it. And it should be mocked because this is really cringy. So
No, I saw one that said mad respect, bro.
I saw that one too. My gosh.
Yeah.
Ugh, mad respect, bro. Well, sociosexual hierarchy wise, how would you rate? It's actually a good thing.
That was pretty pure gamma. I mean, it wasn't.
Shocker.
It was like
he's not Omega. Come on, no.
I think he's scared. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
He's not combative. And the interesting thing about gammas is that they're really combative, and unless they get punched in the face, and then they're totally scared. Well, he got metaphorically punched in the face by his corporate backers, and so this is just pure terror.
Yeah, and he's scared of getting banned. Sad.
No principles, no backbone. The only thing he's clinging to is his atheism and his distaste for religious extremism, which of course means all religion. So,
and the thing is, he's got 3 million subscribers, 1.4 million views on this, and like you said, YouTube's not likely to ban him.
No, they won't.
And so if he just kind of parlayed things into I'm getting banned from Twitch, here's some platform I control, a Substack, whatever it is, right? That I need to get you all on. And screw these people for banning me, he'd be in much better shape going forward than now, where he's pretty much like, because the SJW is never going to just respect you all of a sudden. They're not going to be like, yay, Asmongold. And the people on his side now aren't going to fight for him either because they realize he's going to equivocate. So he just lost everything by doing this video, not by the original comment.
Right.
So,
it's I don't know. It's amazing to me that 9 years after SJW's Always Lie was published, that people are still thinking that they're going to get out of situations by apologizing. Apologizing is for individuals,
right?
When you harm an individual, when you wrong an individual, you owe that individual an apology.
Right.
You do not ever apologize to organizations or for public situations and that sort of thing.
Agreed. Well, Vox looks like he's falling asleep, my friends. Thank you guys for being here. If I end up getting banned or whatever, I would like you to get on the Substack for Fandom Pulse, where I can. This is a nice free speech spot, and I write up my articles before I make videos and all that. It's right here in the description. I do have my. I was banned from Kickstarter last week for nebulous reasons, And I didn't apologize for them. I just went and called the CEO a bunch of names instead, because he is. And so I'm on Fund My Comic now. This is my Emerald Erase Space Marine book, and it's badass and awesome. We got a couple new backers today, over 11,000, and I would love for you to check this out as well.
And let's not forget the videos are on unauthorized.
Yes, which I do need to talk to you about for the uploads. It looks like it's actually a permissions problem. I'll talk to you after this.
It'll get taken care of. Just email the devs.
Awesome. Brandon, the Anime Guy, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. And also thank you for the $2 super chat. Asmongold is what happens when you're a beta soy. Indeed. All right. Thank you guys for being here. And if you just tuned in, go watch the last hour with John C. Wright before this, because he dropped a ton of brilliance. And we were in awe of it. And then we transitioned to Asmongold, and it was quite the opposite.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't the best idea. Oh, well.
See you guys soon. Oh, no stream for 2 weeks because I'm going to El Salvador. So once I'm out, so yeah, we'll be off for 2 weeks, and adios.
No worries.